and welcome to another recap video from the candidates tournament in Berlin. Today's 11th round provided a lot more action, a lot more drama and a lot more excitement. The first result of the day was a draw between Wesley So and Shakhriyar. During the following press conference, Shakhriyar revealed that he had actually prepared the same opening on the white side of the board for his game against Karjakin, and that he would have actually preferred to be in his opponent's shoes. As it was, after an interesting middle game, Shakhriyar sacrificed a pawn to reach a drawn opposite color bishop endgame, which was agreed to a draw eventually. Funnily enough, Shakhriyar was quite surprised at the press conference. He pointed out that Wesley So had actually turned down his draw for on move 31, something which he couldn't understand, but Wesley said that he played on for the fans, for people at home to understand why, although white is a pawn up, it is only a draw in an opposite color bishop ending. Next up to finish were Caruana and Kramnik, a game which also ended in a draw, but a very interesting game regardless. The game got exciting as early as move 5 when Kramnik sprung what was a near novelty with c5, a move which he was later asked about in the press conference. He said that it was a bad move, of course, and when asked why he played it, he smiled and said it was a bluff, and a bluff that worked. It worked so well, in fact, that Caruana spent half an hour on his next 3 moves, but he later managed to navigate his way out of what was maybe a slightly difficult position at times. We saw an interesting middle game, but a draw was eventually agreed on move 40, meaning that Fabiano remains half a point ahead of Shakhriyar. After these 2 draws, however, action really sprung into life on the remaining 2 boards, and first of these 2 to finish was Karjakin inflicting yet another defeat on Aronian, who's really been struggling here in Berlin for the past couple of weeks. With that victory, Sergei is back on +1 and into contention for the all-important first place. That left us with only 1 game still going on, but what a game that was. Liren against Grischuk lasted for 96 moves and 7 hours. It looked like it was going to be a crushing victory for Liren, who got a winning position as early as around move 18. He then played a flawless game up until the crucial turning point on move 29, where the beautiful knight d8 would have wrapped up the game right there and then. It's even more surprising that he missed this move, because it was pretty much the same motive as we saw in the game between Vladimir Kramnik and Aronian yesterday. The point of knight d8 is that we are both threatening mate on e8 and to take the piece on d5, so black basically has no other option but resigning. As it was, the game was still winning for Liren, and the next turning point came on move 38, when after bishop d4, suddenly there was a big moment of shock in the press room as well as in commentary rooms all over the world, because suddenly Grischuk had the equalizing move, knight e to d3, which he missed. He instead went for knight takes h3, and Judith Polgar said she was actually not surprised by that decision. When asked about it later on in the press conference, Grischuk said that he had seen knight e d3 but just got too excited by knight takes h3, and he miscalculated something in the following line. So in the endgame that resulted, it was winning still for Liren, but then slowly but surely things got out of hand. He lost control over the position and could not win. A still complex ending where he had rook and pawn against knight and bishop, but that game, that position was already a draw according to the 6 pieces table base. So of course a very, very disappointing result for Liren, who in the press conference looked possibly even more distraught than Aronian. So a tough day for Liren and Aronian, but hopefully they can fight back in the last 3 rounds. In the press conference I just mentioned between Grischuk and Liren, the final question of Anastasia Karlovich was to Grischuk, and she asked him if he had a bit more hope about saving the game, because Liren had drawn all his games, and he said no, before adding no, because there is only one Giri in the world. So that was at least a funny finishing touch to the press conference. Tomorrow in round 12 on Saturday, we will have some crucial encounters, and I think most eyes will be on the game between Karjakin and Caruana, the remake of the final game Thriller from the Moscow Candidates Tournament 2016. On the other boards, Mamedyarov will be taking on Liren with the white pieces, a game he will surely be hoping to win to come back and catch up with Fabiano, especially considering Liren did play the 7-hour exhausting game today, and Alexander Grischuk will be right against Aronian, who is struggling on -4 at the moment. So these 3 games will be keeping a close eye on. Finally, Kramnik will be playing against Wesley So. These are the pairings for tomorrow, and I'll see you then for another recap video. Good night!